Welcome back to episode 24 of the Living Room Chat podcast. We're, for those loyal fans of you out there, all handful of you.
All 5 of you. Thanks, Mum.
And Tom and Andy. I'll just shout them out, I did. Sorry I missed last week. Why did we miss last week?
Because you were too busy.
I was too busy.
You got stuff going on now. You're big time these days.
Mate, I've got my swimming pool up now. I've just been spending all my whole time
Your
with that.
swimming pool?
Yeah.
What, one of those little
Mate, it's
child's
not little,
pop-up
mate.
ones?
It's 11 foot across, a metre high. Full frame, pump, chlorine in it.
Yeah.
It's the works.
Get you.
Anyway, not talking about that. So yeah, sorry we missed last week, but we're back. Episode 24. We've got a good one today, haven't we?
Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to our topics of discussion.
So we are going to talk about the issues again of being self-employed as an estate agent.
And downs.
The ups and the downs. So I've got a little story about that. It literally is fresh in my mind because it happened not even 3 hours ago. So I'll tell you all about that.
Yeah.
And then hopefully you can give me some therapy.
I'll give you some comfort, some
Thank
comforting words.
Thank you. What else though?
So talking about your story, talking about interest rates. The Bank
Yep.
of England has just raised the base rate to 5% earlier today.
Sounds a lot, doesn't it? At 5% now.
Considering we were at 0.1.
Like for our whole
Like
whole adult life, we've
Yeah.
never ever experienced rates this high.
No. And I remember opening my first savings account when I was younger and it was like 8% interest. And I was like...
Yeah, good point. And then the final topic is one that I'm actually, should be quite a funny one. When people bring their parents or a friend to a viewing for their opinion and the sort of shit that comes out of their mouth and the poxy questions, and they're like the bad guy. So we'll talk about some of the things they say and have a little bit of a joke about it, shall we?
Yeah, absolutely. But first, so let's hear what's gone on. We were talking the other day about how things are picking up. We're a year in, we're all good, but it sounds like you've had some stress.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think being self-employed, when you've got a consistent few weeks, and we've had probably 7 or 8 weeks of, I wouldn't say plain sailing, but we're listing what we need to list, we're selling what we need to sell, we're exchanging what we need to exchange. So we're not quite comfortable, but we're certainly not like struggling.
You're rocking and rolling. You've got a flow.
Rocking and rolling, there we go. We're building. But the self-employed estate agent god has obviously looked down on me this week and thought, do you know what? You haven't got enough stress in your life or enough anxiety. So here's a little bit of that for you. And it all came to fruition today.
You're getting a bit too big for your boots.
No,
not
at all.
Yourself
Not at all. It is bad luck. It's the gods. Not that I believe in God, but it is the gods. So what happened? Do you remember the story of the bungalow with spray foam insulation?
I do.
Cool. So that's still rumbling on.
This is the one I helped you do the drone for last year.
Fucking ages. Oh shit, swore. Oh my god, there we go. Algrim's dead. Sorry. Fuck it, we say what we want now. Yeah, that was the one. I think we took it on the market back, I think it was July, August last year.
Yeah,
Somewhere like that. Anyway, we resold it a few months ago. It's all been flying through, literally flying through. We're not far off exchange of contracts. Now, I won't go into the nitty gritty, but long story short, my buyer who's selling a house through me and then buying Compton Avenue is a roofer himself, so he knows what he's letting himself in for. He knows what he's doing. He has a very small mortgage, like just over 10% of the property value.
What?
Yeah. So like nothing in the big scheme of things, okay? He's transferring it and adding a little bit extra onto it. This was supposed to happen months, like 6 weeks ago. He thought it was all sorted. I chased the broker last week saying, what's going on? Like, you told me about the mortgage offer, etc. Oh, no, the survey yet. I was like, what do you need surveys for? He's borrowing like 12% of the property value just to be a desktop, surely. Oh, no, they need to survey it. And I was like, oh, no. Anyway, my man Charles rocks up. I know I've dealt with him on a few surveys. Nice guy, doesn't want to ruffle any feathers. He knows what he's talking about. And he said, I just need to have a look in the loft, Ryan. And I was like, my head literally went, oh, fuck.
Wow.
So, cutting to the point here, cutting to the chase, that's it. It's been valued at 0 because of the spray foam insulation. So he can't get a mortgage on it. So although he's only borrowing us a very small amount against property value, buyers quite clearly turn around and say, well, look, I ain't paying that. So either I get the roof replaced before and they pay for it, or I renege my offer.
How can it be valued at 0?
Because at the moment it's nothing. It's not. It wasn't zero. He showed me the report. It said non-applicable. So, and that's the shit I've got to deal with, because those 2 deals worth to me are about $8.5 to me, which I know is not like, well, I'm not going to like retire on it, but that's the difference between me being able to pay my family and support our lives for the whole of December and January, because we're paid up till then.
Yeah.
So that's all of December's pay and all of January's pay that could just go.
And it's such a small mortgage, and like surely nothing could go wrong. And the buyer knew about the spray foam insulation, buyer's a roofer.
He knows what he's doing, yeah. Knows what he's doing.
Couldn't have a more perfect buyer.
I know.
Who's the lender, by the way? Do you know?
I don't.
No.
I don't know. Because that's another thing. Because I've done another survey with this guy before, and he didn't go into the loft. It was that really shit house down in Thailand that I sold. A really bad house.
You had a few, mate.
Didn't need to go in the loft because the lender didn't need him to. And I was like, clearly that's not one of these lenders then. So he's like, look, I'm sorry. I've got to put it in my report. I'm sorry. I was like, no, mate, you're doing your job. I knew about it. So I've left a message for the sellers. I've just got to deal with it now. Got a couple of options, but...
That is so rubbish.
And that was supposed to exchange. Once his mortgage offer was out, that should be exchanging first week of July, complete in second week.
Oh, that's so rubbish, mate. I'm so sorry. I had the loft foam thing come up on one of my first self-employed deals, and I didn't look in the loft before the offer was agreed, and that was a lesson to me to always look in the loft, because the spray foam was there. They got the loan though on this house, and I think different lenders look at it in different ways.
They do. I think most lenders are like, nah, not interested. And I just can't understand why, because it's such a small mortgage. I even said to the bar, I was like, look, can you buy it cash? Or maybe I have to renege on the price, but can you buy it cash? Just get it taken out, get the roof replaced, and then remortgage from there, and you get your money back. Just in 4 savings. And you don't want to deal with that.
So frustrating, but that's the thing with spray foam. I think when the spray foam goes over the
rafters.
Yeah.
This one doesn't, by the way.
Yeah. So surely you can kind of...
I think it's a case of one shoe fits all. If it's got spray foam, it's got spray foam.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what type, everything. So the surveyor said you can probably get a guarantee to if you've got a guarantee to present, a lender will probably override it. Spoke to the broker and they were like, probably not.
So, because the trouble is, I suppose 10% is more than it would cost to get it done. Because from what I understand, you can kind of, if you take the roof out, you can almost chop out the spray foam.
So you can take away the spray foam, clear it all back off, and then the rafters are good, and then you've got to replace all the felt and all the tiles and all the battens.
Yeah, so it's a
big job.
Basically,
it's like 10 grand job.
Roof, yeah.
So that's the we talked about that before, the trials and tribulations of being self-employed. You think everything's going along rosy, and then bang,
you never know.
Punch right in the dick.
Straight in the dick. Yeah, man, I'm sorry, that's so shit.
But that's fine. You get on with it. Everything else is good, moving along nicely. So, I'll have to deal with that. But that's my shit story for the day. So we'll start the pod on a negativido. On a
negative note.
On a negative note.
Love to start out with some negativity.
Yeah. So, which will move us probably swiftly on to further negativity.
Yeah, bad news.
What are we going to call this one? A negative episode?
Yeah, negative Nancy's.
Negative Nancy's. So, what's happening?
So, base rates up to 5%. I think markets were expecting it to go to 4.75, so just a 25 basis point jump.
Bank of England's like, here, hold my beer.
Yeah, but just boom, straight up to 5%. So inflation figures which came out yesterday, I understand inflation was flat at like 8.
It was supposed to drop, but it was still at 8.7. God, look how factual we sound. Like we actually know shit, don't we?
We know shit, you know.
So basically, they're raising interest rates to try and curb inflation because at the moment the cost of things is too much. But by raising interest rates, it then stops people buying shit, which then brings prices down. Is the goal, and it is a foolproof plan. It should work.
I mean, it's the only tool we have, or they have, to reduce inflation.
Yeah. But the mortgage world. So I've actually got a little Sky News article, if I may.
Yeah, please.
So here we go. Bank of England has shocked economists and investors by raising interest rates 0.5 percentage point to 5%, the highest levels since 2008. I said that with a bit of vigour, didn't I? Right, anyway, let me scroll down all this boring shit, get to the mortgage pain. Here we go. Mortgage pain. Ooh, lovely. Today's announcement paves the way for more expensive mortgage bills. Woohoo! Not. Anyone with a tracker mortgage will feel the effect of rises immediately as their mortgage rate is tied to the bank's base rate. There we go. For those moving to a fixed rate mortgage, they may already have had to sign on to a more costly rate. On Monday, the mortgage rate for the average 2-year fixed deal rose to above 6%, and 5-year deals have been progressively rising as well. Shadow Chancellor Rachel Reeves accused Jeremy Hunt and Rishi Sunak of burying their heads in the sand. Don't care about politics.
Okay, so Bank of England base rents up, slightly higher than expected.
Yeah.
It seems to me that the general sort of feeling is that rates are going to go up this year and then come down sometime next year.
Which doesn't help the, million transactions a year. Yeah. That's fine. But then how many people are remortgaging this year? I think they said something like, was it like 3 million? I just plucked that number out of the air.
I heard 100,000 people a month remortgage in the UK. That's
fine. So so not 3,700,000, give or take, for the rest of the year. Yeah, no, 600. Anyway, boring.
Yeah, so about 100,000 people a month remortgaging from a old rate. Right.
So we're halfway through the year. So there could be basically 1 million people that are going to be affected by this.
Yeah. Plus everyone who's moving home. And you think a month ago rates were in the high threes, whereas now we're going to be looking at rates in the high fours / low fives.
And some of them, the average rate's 6%.
Yeah, right.
So we're already way above that.
So quickly get a mortgage calculator up on your phone.
I've done 400,000 purchase price.
Okay.
With £40,000 down.
Okay.
So 10% mortgage, a 360 grand mortgage.
Yeah.
Right.
So a month ago, you would have got that for about 4%.
Okay, so 4% over 25 years would have given you a repayment at £1,900. Okay. Now, if we're looking at 6%, it's £2,320. The other thing to think about is people that are on, let's say someone's on their mortgage at the moment on a 2% rate and they're coming out of a fixed rate term.
Yeah.
They would be paying £1,500 at the moment. So their mortgage is going to go up £800 a month.
From 2% to 6%. Yeah.
Scary, isn't it? So let's flip this onto its head in terms of how it's going to affect the property market. Because actually, funny enough, I had a message from a lady I went out to value a few months ago. She went on another agent. Just quickly numbers. I valued it at 310 to 315. She went on at 335. She's then reduced. Still not sold. Messaged me saying, I can see you've got a lot of success on social media. Cool, that's working. How's the market? And I turned around to her and I said in a message, at the moment, I haven't really seen a downturn.
No.
Like obviously the numbers we deal with are a lot less, but actually there are plenty of buyers still out there. There's multiple offers on properties. Things are still selling. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's going to remain the case though for the next 6 to 8 weeks and further. I think this is going to have a real adverse effect on the market and we're going to see prices come down. Yeah,
I absolutely agree because I think prices have come down so slowly that we almost haven't noticed them. They've been very, very gradual over the last 6 months. Trickling down, yeah. But rates kind of went up very quickly at the end of last year and then have been coming down, which has softened the blow. And we were all hoping for 4% mortgages, whereas now we're looking at 5-6%. And I just think that's going to be the difference.
Absolutely is. And it will take a while. And this is the problem with... It's the problem with estate agents and also clients, sellers, understanding of the marketplace.
Yeah.
Because they'll look at, if your house is worth 300 grand and they saw one sell for 330 18 months ago, they'll be like, well, cool, mine must be close to 8. Well, no, the market's dropped. Probably 320, 325.
Yeah.
No, it's dropped a lot more than that. And if you go on at 325, you'll get no interest.
No.
And what people won't understand is like, cool, people aren't buying. There's not as many people buying. The reason prices were so high is because of the demand was far outstripping supply.
Yeah.
If there's more houses on the market with less people buying, there's only one thing you can do. It doesn't matter how good the fucking marketing is. You have... I shouldn't have swore there, should I? That would have been perfect reel. I was on a roll there. Doesn't matter how good the marketing is. If the buyers aren't there to pay the price you want, it's not going to sell. And that's the issue we're in at the moment with 6% mortgage rates for people when they could have got a lot more. It just means first-time buyers are like, cool, we'll just sit and rent it. Like, we'll just sit and rent it for another year and see how we get on.
Yeah. There's no other way around it. The supply has gone up, the demand has gone down. So People who are stuck in their old pricing, it's just not going to work.
Another way of looking at it as well, because there'll be a lot of people that are, let's say you're in your mid-50s and you've been on a 5-year fixed at 2% or whatever it is, and you're just about to come out of that fixed rate term, and your mortgage is going to jump. You've got like a 300 grand mortgage. Your mortgage could jump £600-700 a month, and you're thinking, I ain't got time for this shit. You might just look to whack your house on the market, get it sold, downsize, pay off a massive chunk of the mortgage, because paying 2% on a 100 grand mortgage or 6%, yeah, obviously it's a lot, but it's not the end of the world. It's going to be like 150, 200 quid, not 700. So you might see a lot more people entering the market looking to downsize.
Maybe, but the trouble with downsizing the market like this is if you upsize, you lose a bit on your house, but you get a bigger house for less. Whereas if you're downsizing, it's the opposite, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it's desperate times necessarily. I just think it's harder times. I went out to see a house the other day, which was purchased in 2020, has been on the market for 2 months, is not getting traction. And it's at a price where I'm looking at it and thinking, in 2021, or even this time a year ago, in 2022,
should have done
that house would have sold.
Yeah.
But now we're just not in that place. And it's 5% away from where it needs to be.
Yeah. It's an interesting one, isn't it? It is an interesting one. I think the market's going to go through some ups and downs in the next 12 months.
Yeah.
But I bring it back, and like, I know this is, sorry for everyone listening and watching how negative this is. We don't mean to be. We're not negative. We're just presenting the negative stories. Like, the world is in the shit.
We're just saying how it is.
We just say how it is. Flip side, great news for us. Really great news for us. And I'll talk about this, and I'll tell you for why. The way our businesses work, like, my numbers are very simple. I need to sell 3 houses a month, exchange on 2. Okay? There'll be less houses selling. That means more people struggling, which means more people pissed off at the high street estate agents.
Yep.
And we're going to swoop in and save the day, because it is going to be more important to have better marketing, honesty, correct pricing, and that will all play solely into our hands.
Yeah.
We can still earn a decent living by selling 2 houses rather than 3. Like, we still survive. Whereas these estate agents, if they're on 7-8% office commission, and they've gone from exchanging £50,000 worth of deals and getting paid off that chunk to exchanging £20,000 of deals and get changed, their mortgage is going up, their pay's going down. They're screwed.
Yeah, I think what we're doing is very much geared up for a market like this.
Yeah.
The COVID market was easy. It didn't really matter what price it was there for. People were going to come and see it.
And why wouldn't you? You don't need to pay a premium estate agent like us. You can just use any Tom, Dick and Harry or Felicity.
Yeah, but I mean, as always with what we do, the details in the margins. So what you might pay a little bit more on a fee, you've got to look at the whole picture.
Yeah. Are you actually going to be moved?
Yeah. And what mortgage rate are you going to be paying? What deal are you going to get on your next house? Because it's all very well paying a low fee and selling your house for cheap.
Yeah.
But what if you undersell that house and then you pay a premium on the place you buy?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, 1 or 2% is completely irrelevant.
Yeah, when you're talking tens of thousands of pounds.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, totally agree. Been interesting times. I think it's going to be, I don't think on the podcast this will be the last time we'll be discussing this.
No, we'll see.
We'll try and limit it to like once. I don't want to talk about mortgages every time, because fuck me, they're boring.
But there's going to, we know there's going to be loads of media headlines. Even that thing you read out was just like mortgage doom and whatever.
Literally the subtitle, mortgage pain.
But everyone was expecting rates to go up anyway.
Yeah, they weren't going to stay low forever, were they?
Like, it's gone from forecasting 5.5% to 6%, but it's still above where we've been.
I just think, like, it's purely selfish. I just think, thank fuck, I'm fixed until 2027 at 1.69%. Just.
You lucked out.
Let's move on to a lighter topic.
Yeah, but I do want to say, obviously, we're talking about interest rates, we're talking about the base rate going up and mortgages. So if people have got questions about mortgages, about rates.
Audience participation. Love that shit. Love that shit.
You keep swearing, you've got such a potty mouth
Sorry,
today.
I know, I do. For quite a well-spoken chap, I do swear a lot. I'm not that well-spoken, I don't know why I said that.
Well, let's move on then to more fun things.
Yeah, cool. So we've talked about this a lot, and it's always like ongoing bans in the estate agency world when you have people, like, there's always the common thing when first-time buyers, they have to bring their parents around, and the dads particularly are they have very, very specialist things that they do, which will deem whether they're going to buy this house or not. So I want to talk about a few of those. But then another one is people bring their friends around. And I'll start off, if I may, with a quick story to get us into the mood of this topic. So we had a buyer view a house on a Victorian terrace in West Reading a few weeks ago. Really liked it. He goes, I want to book a second viewing because I want to bring my friend round to have a look at it. I was like, man, that's no problem at all. Like, always good to get a second opinion. Out of interest, what do they do? Are they builder, investor? No, they're just my friend. I was like, right, okay. So he goes, yeah, no, he does know what he's talking about though. I was like, oh, well, great. That's a great start. How does he know? Well, he bought a house 18 months ago.
Ah.
I was like, right. Sorry.
So he knows about houses.
I was like, mate, let me just get this straight. 1 second, bud. You want to bring your friend round for his opinion on whether you're going to part away of 350 grand because he bought one house 18 months ago. He went, yeah. I was like, what does he do? He's like, he works in IT. I was like, brilliant. All right, crack on, bring him round. And I'm just thinking, like, I think it's probably more, I don't know if it's just like a reassurance thing from people that it's a nice house. That might well be the case. But the way he made it out is like he needed his opinion whether he can buy the house or not. Yeah. This guy knows jack shit about houses. I was like, bro, I've sold I've been self-employed, probably sold 50 houses in the last 18 months. And I could tell you everything you need to know.
I mean, I'm really big on second opinions or second viewings.
Yeah.
You know,
it's another opportunity for us to charm them, isn't it?
Well, it is, and I'm always thinking I'd rather you come in a second time because you do the first viewing with your heart, and you're like looking around like, oh, I love this place, and you kind of build a story as to why you want to live here, whatever. And then the second time you're sort of looking around and you're noticing the scuffs on the skirting board, and so I'm like, I always want people to do the second viewing, because otherwise it gets the week before exchange, and they're like, oh, actually, we should go back, and then we're there like biting our nails. Like,
oops, yeah, absolutely. So moving on, first thing I do just to lighten the mood. So when Mr. and Mrs. or they may not be married, we live in a 21st century, don't we? They turn up for the viewing and go, oh, I brought my mum and dad. I do the same joke every time. Hi, mum. Hi, dad. Shake their hands. Don't ask their names. And it's I've never heard that one before.
Someone said to me, hi son, the other day. I was like, oh, this kind of made it awkward.
Yeah, I know. So do that to break the ice. But let's talk about what specifically dads. Because mums just go around, oh, yeah, you could put this there. They don't talk like that, but they talk about physical things.
Your table would go nicely here.
They do, every time.
This fit the bed.
And we're not being stereotypical, but that is generally what happens every single time. But the dads...
There's one thing the dads do and there's one thing the mums do.
Cool. What does the dads do?
The dads go around and every wall.
Oh.
Stud wall, that. Definitely a stud wall. And then I'll go.
And by the third time I say, look here, Brian. They're all stud walls. That every single internal wall is a stud wall because the foundation, the supporting walls are the perimeter of the house for this particular design. So you don't need to have every
60 square metre, 2 up, 2 down.
And he's like, and they'll always like, so what type of flooring is this? I was like, probably suspended floor. Bear in mind it's a 1930s semi. Or in the 70s, they're like, what type of floor is this? I was like, probably a concrete floor because it's 1970s. But you don't want to act like you know it all, but you almost got to give them a little bit, but also assert your dominance that you know more than they do.
Well, it's not like we don't survey every property we sell.
No.
So if you want to know like real specific stuff like that, like by all means do a survey, bring a surveyor around.
Yeah.
We can't.
My favourite one, because I make a point, and it's like, I don't know if it's not a selling feature of me, but I know a lot of estate agents, every time I've viewed houses, never known this, is knowing everything about the boiler. I think it's so important because it's one of the most common questions.
Yeah, fucking boiler.
And the dads always bring it up, and I love it. Because they'll go, can you show me the boiler? And I'm like, Steve, let's go have a look at the boiler. Whip open the cupboard door, big shiny boiler. He goes, that probably needs replacing, doesn't it? I was like, well, why would you say that? He goes, well, it's at least 15 years old, isn't it? And I'm like, well, insulation says 2021, that's 2 years ago, so I would suggest it's not 15 years old and it probably doesn't need replacing. And he goes, and they'll say, so is it combi or conventional? I was like, it's combi. He goes, well, how do you know that? I was like, because it's got 5 pipes at the bottom, not 2. And he's like, okay, well, where's the tank? There is no tank, it's a combination boiler. God, there must be a tank. I was like, yeah, there's a cold water tank in the loft. Anyway, you get the gist of it. And it's like that battle of wits you have with them. You know what you're talking about, and they think they know what they're talking about, but you can't call them stupid in front of their son and daughter or their wife, because that's obviously a bad thing. You want them to like you, so you give a bit and let a little go.
I just love, like, boilers especially, and like people will say, "Oh, where's the boiler?" and you show them the boiler, and they just look at it and just make a decision about whether it's a good boiler or not.
Yeah. Well, the best one is with the dad. This is a true story. We were up. He hadn't asked about the boiler, and it was weird because we were 10 minutes into the viewing. He hadn't knocked on the wall, and he hadn't asked about the boiler. And he opened the airing cupboard upstairs, and the water tank's there. And he says, "Oi, Jack, his son, boiler looks in good nick." And I was like, do I do it or do I do it or not? Do I not do it? And he goes, yeah, this looks all right. And he said, Jack goes, I didn't know boilers were circle. I was like, yeah, that's the water tank. Boiler's downstairs. And they went, oh, yeah. Sorry, I meant the water tank. I was like, of course you did, Steve.
What I don't get is when people insist boilers need replacing.
Yeah.
Like, a boiler has a job to heat up water.
Yeah.
One job, heat up water. It either heats up the water or it doesn't.
Yeah.
So if it works, why do you need to change it?
Yeah, I totally agree. What else do they talk about?
So this is what my mums do.
Yeah, move on to the mum.
The mums gravitate towards the kitchen cupboards. You just got to peek.
Like, he said that, not me. Like, that is very stereotypical.
I just
presenting
observe
facts.
the patterns.
Just presenting facts.
So, and just like every cupboard, like they won't snoop massively, but just every one, like one by one, work your way through the kitchen. Just checking if there's anything in there, if they missed anything, if they hiding anything. What cleaning products are under the sink? What cereal do they eat?
Yeah.
It's always the kitchen cupboards.
Yeah.
Like, well, and no one's ever found anything in there, but everyone always looks.
No. What else we got? There's garden orientation gets them all the time.
Yeah.
They're like, which way is the garden facing? I'm like, it is dead south. And they're like, I don't think it is.
And they'll get their iPhone compass out.
Yeah. I'll be like, oh, it is actually. He goes, well, you knew that quickly. I was like, yeah, it's 12 o'clock and the sun's right there. It's literally right south, like facing us. He goes, I was like, yeah, look, sun rises in the east, sets in the west. Like, it's been there since the dawn of time.
I heard one the other day where like, which way is the garden facing? And I was like, I can't remember. It's like southeast, or southeast facing. And then they got their iPhone compass out anyway, because they obviously didn't believe what I said. And they were like, no, it's north. And I was like, no, it's not. They're like, can you recalibrate your compass? And they're like, oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah. We stick on garden theme. I had one where it was a north-facing garden, because it was set into a side of a hill. The sun was lit like on the house all day, every day.
Yeah.
Like, it's beautiful. And it was a friend this time, their friend, and I was like, what's the garden orientation? Like, it's north facing, and this is like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Like how the weather we've had, super hot. Grass is brown, it's like burnt to crisp. Super hot weather. And he goes, north facing, probably not going to get much sunlight then, are we? I said, have you look at the sky? There's the sun. It's like right on us. There's nothing. And he went, oh yeah, that's a really good point, to be fair.
But sometimes people say, how old is a property?
Yeah.
You know, and most times we make a guess, right, based upon the
guesstimate. Yeah, we know.
Yeah, something like a Victorian terrace, I'll be like, it's over 100 years old. It's like late 1800s or something. Oh, that's old, isn't it?
And then you say the same thing every time. I was like, look, it's been here for 130 years. This ain't going nowhere.
Like, it's a period building. What do you want me to say?
Or do you know how old it was? Yeah, it's built mid-1960s. Not 64, 65. Okay. It's just a question they think they need to ask. Why does it really matter? Yeah. It's not 10 years, so it's not going to have any new homes guarantee. It's still here after X amount of years, so what does it really matter?
I don't mean to take the piss out of people.
I
It's
don't
quite
either.
funny, really, but
It's hilarious.
it's so many common themes, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so, mum
they're
and
all the
dad
same.
are just looking out for little Jimmy, and they're
Absolutely.
probably giving him a deposit. And
Yeah. But the thing is, like, when they make jokes and when they say these things, it's like they feel like we're quick-witted because we've got an answer. Because we've heard them hundreds of times. Like the same questions. They think they're being original with questions. But that's good. They're asking the questions they should ask. Is the boiler good? How's the roof looking? Is the floor suspended or concrete? It doesn't really matter, but, you know, that's fine. All good. Oh, I had one question I couldn't answer. He said to me, Ryan, he said, the boiler's over there, radiator's obviously in every room. He goes, which way do the pipes go? And I was like, well, I assume they go through the suspended floor, through the cavities, rather than cutting through every single rafter.
Sure.
It's just a suggestion, but does it matter? He goes, yeah. Well, what if we need to pull up the floor? So well, you're not going to pull up the subfloor, are you?
And how would that change your purchasing decision?
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly that. It's just it's them asking intelligent questions that are really not that intelligent.
And like, I'm the first one to say I don't know if I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, and stuff like that.
Here's a question for you. What should go? Bear in mind you don't know what the loft is, and I'm not saying you lie, but when someone says loft boarded, what do you say?
Insulated, part boarded.
Yeah, me too. Every time, I always say exactly the same thing. I haven't been up there, but I've been told it's part board. Like you can store stuff up there, you can move around.
Yeah, like suitcases and Christmas trees.
And they're like, lighting and ladder? I was like, yeah, possibly. Suitcases and Christmas decks. Unless you're, I always take a view on who I'm meeting from a cultural perspective.
Yeah, sure.
I don't always say Christmas. I say festive periods.
Nice. Very culturally
because that could mean
sensitive.
anything else.
Yeah, nice one. Yeah.
Christmas period, festive periods.
Another quick thing though, we're talking about boilers.
Yeah.
Boiler servicing. So
Yes.
just a quick note on boiler servicing. I watched my boiler get serviced last time my boiler was serviced. I'm not sure anyone needs to get their boiler serviced ever.
It just undoes the pressure tap and it's all clicking in there nicely.
Is the pressure like 1.5? Yeah. It's like dust this off, dust that off.
100 quid, please.
Looks good for me. Sign that off. There's your boiler service.
Yeah.
If you're a gas engineer and I'm wrong, please comment below and tell me what you do with your Magica boiler services. But I'm not sure.
I think it's just part and parcel of moving house, isn't it? I always say to people, look, get electrical installation certificate done, just to show the electrics are good. Get a boiler certificate done. Just get it done before you sell, because it's going to be requested, and you present it just ticks them off. There's never an issue then.
And you're not wrong. Just do it, and everyone sees the boiler service, and they go, "Oh, the boiler's heating up the hot water. It's doing the one job it's there to do. Good." But I'm not sure people need to worry about it as much as they do.
When I bought my house, they the solicitor insisted they had an up-to-date boiler inspection on the boiler on the house I was buying. I was like, "Look, mate, I don't care. It's literally getting ripped out the second week I move in, so don't worry about it." And it held the transaction for about 3 days, so they had to pay, as a warm air heating boiler, they had to pay for an up-to-date boiler inspection to be done.
For something you're going to rip out.
And that literally cost them whatever it cost, 120 quid or whatever. Yeah, it's all good, tick off. I was like, great, thank you for that. 2 weeks later, boiler's out the front, ready for the Jippos to come pick it up.
And this is why they say moving home is so good for the economy, because you're getting boilers which are about to be thrown out and disposed of against service.
Yeah, there we go. Happy days.
Cool.
Call that the end, shall we? That is absolutely bang on 30 minutes. I haven't seen the camera, but I guarantee it'll be 30 minutes.
Cool. Well, let's sign off. As always, I'm still Matt. He's still Ryan. This is still the Living Room Chat podcast. We'll be back next week for episode 25. Quarter of a way to triple figures. Follow along for the journey, and we'll see you later.
Peace out, people. Thank you very much.